All right, hello and welcome to What's Next. It's Indy Next Road here live on P1 from Long Beach, California at the Long Beach Street Circuit. We're just about ready to get into qualifying here, so we'll get our handy-dandy timing and scoring up here so we can get an idea of who's going to be up here at the top. Oop, I got too many graphics on screen. There we go. All right. Riding from the chopper cam with Andre Castro, who's our #1 car here tonight. Great to see Andre back here for another week of Indy Next action here from a fan and driver favorite here at the Long Beach Street Circuit. Get on the cockpit cam with Mr. Castro here as we see him head towards the back straightaway of this track here. Looks like he's out here warming the tires, getting up to speed on his outlap here. Looks like he's opted to take the long way around this hairpin to get as big a run as possible down this front straightaway for his opening qualifying lap here tonight. Those keeping score at home, I believe the strength of field is somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,600, which is pretty healthy for a feeder series on the iRacing service. Especially on the formula side of things. Give ourselves a lot of familiar names here tonight as we see Castro work through the middle sector of this track. Hard braking zone left, close to the wall as you can. That's basically the name of the game here at Long Beach, is get as close to those walls as you possibly can. Everywhere possible. Bit of a moment here for Castro as he heads down the back straightaway here at Long Beach. Last right-hander before the hairpin. We've got a left-hander here that you've got to really ride these curves and stay close to line up this hairpin at the very tail end of the lap here. Nice and tight, punching on the throttle down the front stretch is Castro. So Jacob Oster go to the top of the timing sheet with a 1:12.1. Castro just behind. A number of other familiar names as we look down the sheet here. We've got Jarrett Corey back this week, Will Weiser, Caleb Brashear, Lucas Lodato, Seb Alexander. We saw Alex Miller out here as well. Good to see some returning faces from both the Road to Indy and the INDYCAR Series itself here on iRacing. We'll ride around with Andre here once more around this very, very bumpy and a lot tighter than it looks, right? You see that they've got, about 2 lanes of traffic most everywhere on the track to work with, if not a little bit more, but the corners get really tight around here, and that's something that these drivers are going to have to navigate, especially in the opening portion of this race, going into that really hard left-hander in turn 1. See Castro punch it down the front stretch as Oster goes back to the top of the pile with a 1:11.93. Castro just behind him with a 1:11.95. It's going to be a tight field here at the front tonight. We'd love to see it. We'll see if we can get an outboard shot here, maybe ride along with Andre as he continues to circulate here. These rumble strips here that people are going to want to hit. That tire barrier and the outside wall there. all the way to the other side of the other wall here. Turn nice and early into this corner here. under the bridge. Through the back straightaway of this track, nice and tight there. Ride the curbs all the way out to the wall. So we'll see and round the last couple corners here. Through that hairpin, nice and tight on the throttle. This is likely where we'll see the bulk of tonight's push-to-pass usage, is down this front straightaway and likely down that back straightaway we saw just a little while ago. Those are probably the best opportunities to see those things happen. Wet's in the pit lane. DeRozzo's in the pit lane. Jeremy MD McGrory is back. He's moving slowly on the course. So we'll just keep on board with Castro here for the time being until we get through the end of qualifying here. And it looks like iRacing's telling us that it'll be about a minute from now. Haven't gotten around to trying to hide these. I'm not one to have moved UI elements in the past, but it looks like some of these on-screen prompts might have to get the heave-ho from me before too long here. Long Beach, obviously a very historic venue for the IndyCar Series, and one that a lot of people would argue kind of stands as one of the events you want to win as an IndyCar driver alongside the Indy 500 and others. And I'm suspecting that's going to conclude qualifying. Unless we got a car that kind of hopped out at the last minute, which I don't think we have one. Oh, there's somebody still moving there. Well, we'll get to a alternate camera here. Let's gaze around Long Beach here. Get the shot of what I would assume is an aquarium there. You know, you've got this fountain here, an iconic location where many a car gets stuck in the various flower beds surrounding it. Right outside the Bubba Gump Shrimp, we've got Long Beach Pier here. Take in the sights and sounds. That's what's fun about these street courses, right? Is they're right in the hearts of a lot of downtown areas where you can see things that you wouldn't normally see at a lot of racetracks, unless you're maybe at like a Barber where they've got a museum on site. Let's get into a starting grid here. On the pole, Jacob Oster with a 1 minute 11.930. Alongside him will be Andre Castro with a 1 minute 11.950. Row 2, Will Weiser and Reed Gibson. You got Alexander Miller in 5th, and then Jarrett Corey in 6th. We've got Brody McConkey in 7th, alongside Daniel DeRozzo in 8th. Chris Wetz will be 9th, and Isaac Clark will round out your top 10. In 11th, we've got Caleb Brashear, 12th, Lucas Lodato. Sal Alexander will be 13th. Dylan Wylozinski will be 14th. Shasi Zuhar will be 15th. Rene Gavilan will be 16th. We've got Machai Stevens in 17th. Tyler Langenberg in 18th. And Jeremy MD McGrory will round out our 19-car field here tonight. See cars lining up about the midway portion of this track. It's not a full rolling pace lap here at Long Beach, but it's enough of one where these guys will get an opportunity to kind of find their footing with the heating up the tires, kind of sloshing back and forth, maybe using a bit of the brakes to warm the tires up. 17 laps, the advertised distance here tonight, as we'll get pile on back up with Jacob Oster leading the field. Take it back under this bridge. Heading towards that back straightaway, we see a good bit of cars weaving back and forth here. Oster in that I-5G iconic green. I'm going to assume it's camo, much like his Indy car. The I-5G entry for Jacob Oster here, right on the point. Head through the right-hander at the back with his back straightaway here. Now it's going to certifiably be chaos heading into this turn one here. So we'll try to stay on top of as many cars as we possibly can through this opening set of corners. Where am I? All right, we're off.
Green, green, green.
Heading down the front straightaway, Jacob Oster leads. Everybody gets single file pretty quickly for the opening couple cars of the field. Castro opts to take a look. He's still alongside. Oster remains at the point. Got a number of cars falling through the order already. Looks like we're mostly clean through the opening couple of corners. Hop back a bit further in the field as Oster starts to pull away. Hop back with Jarrett Corey here, who's running 7th with Daniel DeRozzo hot in tow behind him in his track rocket machine. Got a Colton Herta livery on Corey's car this week. I guess, is this a Will Power livery now? Is it going to stay a Gamebridge car next year? That'll be interesting. Will Power not a Penske car, an Indy car. Relatively orderly throughout the field so far, which is a good welcome surprise for Long Beach. So let's see if we can find our closest battle on track now as this field is starting to kind of spread itself out. I believe it would be our battle for the lead between Oster and Castro at the front. We'll hop to Castro's car here now. They're just heading out of the fountain. And I think tire wear is going to be probably the name of the game here, just given how hard these braking zones are. Especially as close together as these cars kind of have to be to race around here, especially 2 and 3 wide, if we get to that. We're going to hop back a little further here as this battle between Castro and Weiser starts to take shape as Oster continues to pull away, now out to around a 2.5 seconds. Everybody on the push to pass down the front straightaway. We'll hop back to Alex Miller, just at the tail end of the top 5, as Oster sets the purple lap with a 1:11.631. Heavy. Oh! Who's that around? Is that Brashear? Looks like Brody McConkey around. Suspecting he probably just got loose, or did he get some help? Let's go back here. Yeah, a little bit too eager on the throttle, just gets loose. So we'll get back to the present day here. Alex Miller still running 5th. The gap's widened up a bit, but we'll give him his due in his nicely bright colored IL-15 here tonight. So as we've gotten through these opening couple laps here, the field's strung out for the most part. Not entirely surprising here at Long Beach, as it's very difficult to stay really close together through these very, very tight corners, particularly that hairpin at the tail end of the lap. Miller runs comfortably in 5th. We got Jarrett Corey in 6th, Durazo 7th, Clark 8th, Caleb Brashear 9th, and Lucas Dotto will be tail end of the top 10 here. Let's jump back to Seb Alexander here in 12th. He's right in the middle between Will Lozinski and Wetz, and just outside the top 10 in his plain white IAR entry here tonight. Oster still has about 1.3 seconds over Castro in 2nd, depending on where you find him in the braking zones. Oh, Alexander's around. Looks like likewise another too much on throttle moment, and he goes around and into the wall, and that's likely night done for Alexander. It's just as you turn the camera to him. Broadcaster's curse. I guess I'm capable of it too. You hate to see it. Nice to see Luke Mansky Racing in the chat alongside Brett Alt. Welcome to have you here on P1. We're showing off the Indy NXT Series here at Long Beach, which I think to be fair, this is probably one of the better tracks for these cars, just given the nature of the handling of these cars. You know, that I was talking with Jarrett Corey earlier, and he said that first gear is like basically unusable in these cars, just given how much turbo lag these things have. And you're kind of seeing that on full display here, as we see a lot of these cars, even on the brakes, are sliding around a lot, trying to navigate this street course here in Long Beach, California. This has gotten a lot closer. Castro has slowly begotten to reel in Oster. Got to wonder if maybe that pressure's starting to mount as we see Castro maybe start to look. Oh, Oster into the pit lane. Did he maybe hit something at some point and we missed it? Did he get hit with the magic? He got hit with the magic meatball. Well, that'll give the lead to Castro. I'm wondering if Oster maybe got a little too close to one of those walls and bounced a tire into it, and that seems to be all it takes for this car to kind of fall apart. Seems a bit more prevalent on the ovals, but I'd imagine a street course like Long Beach with the harder walls and the tighter confines make it a bit more easier to, unfortunately, pick up those terminal damage hits that take you out of these races. And it's a shame to see Oster go out so early, as it looked like we were going to have a great battle shaping up between himself and Andre Castro here at the front. As Castro now continues to lead with about 3/4 of a second over Will Weiser in 2nd. We got Reed Gibson in the 3, rounding out that podium. Moves Alex Miller to 4th, Corey to 5th, Durazo 6th. Got Isaac Clark in 7th, Caleb Brashear 8th, Lodato 9th, Chris Wetz in 10th. Got 14 cars still running. A lot of issues for cars early on in this race. And I think a lot of it is due down to that, you know, the wheel spin and kind of the very, very tight confines in which you kind of got to get on the brakes and nailing these corners around here. See if we can maybe get on board with a car that's a bit closer together. We'll hop on board with Chris Wetz here in 10th. Roll around him for a lap. He's just on the heels of Lucas Lodato. You see a bit of a slide coming into turn 1 there. Down to first gear. Looks like a lot of sliding on the entries of these corners. Tough track to navigate here in these Indy NXT machines. Got a Daniel Durazo fan and Kyle Clenworth in the chat. Oh, around! That was Lodato. Lodato right around in front of Chris Wetz off coming onto the backstretch. That'll see him fall down a couple spots. And that's all it takes, is just a little bit too much on corner exit, and around the car will go. So So you see Wetz get really close to the wall there. Move up a car, maybe catch on to Caleb Brashear as he tries to chase down Isaac Clark heading to turn one. On the push to pass. Looking to the outside. Trying to narrowly avoid that outside wall coming off of turn one. It is interesting to see the use of first gear here. That seems like a pretty decent risk reward. I'm sure it's better in terms of getting the power out. I'm not sure how much better it is on getting the power down. So we see him start to make some looks on Isaac Clark here, trying to, ooh, might be a little too close there. We might have to see if Brashear's picked up some damage getting that close. Check at the end of the lap here as we stay on board with Brashear. He looks to the inside. Big moment for Brashear off the hairpin. See if we can get a look at Brashear's car here. All looks okay from the front end of that Luke Mansky racing machine. Awfully close and tight here at the Long Beach Street Course. Looks like Will Weiser might have had a moment at some point in time. He's down the order as well. Meatball on his machine would lead me to believe that likely is the case, as we're back up to Castro at the front. Now with over 2 seconds to second place of Gibson. Seems awfully, awfully difficult to navigate these cars around here. But given this is the top split, you also have to think that these guys are pushing these cars for all they're possibly worth, trying to get themselves to the front of this field, as we're over halfway to go now, or under halfway to go. We'll get our laps to go here. We got 8 left for Castro and crew as Alex Miller moves his way to the bottom step of the podium over Jarrett Corey. That's our closest battle on track. We'll get back to Jarrett as he's right on the heels of Alexander Miller for the top 3. As of this moment, Jarrett is leading the point standings, coming up off a runner-up finish in the Indy Pro 2000 point standings last season. Glad to say his skills have translated up the ladder in the road to Indy. See him attempt to chase down Alex Miller. Closest battle on track as they're within about a half second of one another. Big moment for Jarrett off the hairpin. And I think that's kind of the name of the game here, right? Is you're trying to reduce those on-throttle oversteer moments out of these really, really tight corners where you've got to really, really play light on that throttle pedal. Your car sliding behind you. It's hard to tell if the cars are sliding just because they're sliding or if they're sliding because they're going around. Move to the front of this battle with Miller now. And, you know, if these guys get back closer together, there's Daniel Durazo waiting in tow in 5th there. He has an outside chance of a podium before the end of this thing. Castro's extended his lead to about 2.5 seconds over Gibson now. Got 12 cars still moving out here on the Long Beach Street Circuit. If you've enjoyed our coverage so far here tonight, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting YouTube channel. Got plenty of open wheel action here on the P1 channel. I know Gary Godso and I believe Luis Gonzalez Nunez is up in the booth for the Onyx Racing League. Lotus 79's at Watkins Glen Classic. No chicane for them tonight. The track as it was intended, as we see Jarrett get awfully close to Miller coming through that fountain section. Gaps around 2 to 3 tenths between these two. Jarrett's looking everywhere. Try to see if he can get alongside Miller on one of these straightaways. Ooh, both of them into the wall. We'll see if they're both continuing, as we've seen a number of cars at this point kind of get caught out by those wall taps. No meatballs that I can see. Jarrett's looking. Big moment off the corner again. I think if Jarrett can clean up that exit off the hairpin, he's got a shot at Miller before the end of this thing. But just as likely, Durazo in 5th. He's thereabouts. He could close in on Jarrett through those mistakes off the hairpin and close up. Alex Miller kind of gained the title of King of the Streets for his performance at Belle Isle in the INDYCAR iRacing Series last season. See if he can follow that up with a podium finish here tonight. You see Tyler Langenberg, meatball flag in the pit lane. Seems to be the story of the night. If you can finish this race, you can finish near the front seemingly. 2.7 the gap between Castro and Gibson at the front. 4 to go here from Long Beach. Everyone's still hamming that push to pass down the front straightaway until basically they're getting to the corner. And say what we will about Jarrett, he's every lap closed back in on Alexander Miller through the rest of this track. If he can get that hairpin right, I think he's there. Brashear and Wetz, meatball. I think we're going to have to go back and look at one of these. This battle's getting so good. I don't want to turn the camera off. I'm suspecting that at some point contact had to have been made between cars at this point. We've got Wylozinski with a meatball flag. We might only have 3/4 of a dozen cars finish this race with the number of meatballs we're seeing out here tonight. I think we got to keep the camera here, though. As Durazo has started to slowly creep closer and closer. I think if Jarrett and Alex spend any time side by side that isn't a pass being made, Durazo's there. Working towards this back straightaway once again. Everybody's having a bit of a moment here, trying to get their car wrapped underneath them. We're going to have a 3-way battle for third, coming to 2 to go, I believe. Right on the attenuator for Jarrett. Corey is looking. No push to pass this time around for Jarrett. 1 second separating Durazo from Miller. Covering all 3 cars here. Castro remains 2.5 seconds over Gibson in second. This is the battle for the final step of the podium. Jarrett's looking again. Is he going to get the crossover? He's going to go for it. No, thinks better of it. Big moment on the throttle. Durazo is on Jarrett. He's going to look and think better of it. Gap has started to build back up. We're going to come back around for the white flag this time. Barring a catastrophe, Andre Castro, we'll show him on screen briefly here. He's going to lead to the white flag here tonight. Yeah, white flag. There we go. Andre Castro leading. Oh, did we miss it? What happened? What happened? Okay, we got it. Oh, no. We're going to have to catch back up with, I believe Miller got loose off the final corner. Let's see. Here we are with Miller on the hairpin. Gets on the throttle. Oh, I don't even think that was, that seems like hardware failure. That looks like hardware failure. You hate to see that. Oh, we've got Durazo around in the back. Did he just loop it? Man, we take the camera off these guys for 1 minute and everything comes apart. Durazo around. We'll catch back up with Jarrett here. We'll give Castro his due as he makes his way around the final corner. And a heartbreak for the bulk of this field, truly. We're going to have 7 cars finish this race here tonight after 19 of them started. Talk about a race of attrition. This looks like an old kart race from the 80s or something. IndyCar at Indy in like the 80s. We'll see who finished this race. So we get to the end of our race here tonight from Long Beach. Well, Andre Castro will win your race here tonight from Long Beach. We've got one still moving out there, it looks like, but we'll let that tick over. Andre Castro, your winner here tonight over Reed Gibson in second. Jarrett Corey finishes third. Daniel Durazo fourth. Isaac Clark fifth. Lucas Lodato sixth. Rene Gavilan finishes seventh. Alexander Miller, right at the end, seems to have had a hardware failure. Tough break for him. He was on for a podium here tonight. Chris Wetz, ninth, 2 laps down. Dylan Wylozinski in 10th. Caleb Brashear, 11th. Langenberg, 12th. Machai Stevens, 13th. Will Weiser, 14th. Oster, out early, 15th. Brody McConkey, 16th. Saji Zuhar, 17th. Seb Alexander, 18th. We saw him come around, coming off of that right-hander early on in the lap, early on in this race. And Jeremy M.D. McRory, 19th and last here tonight of our 19-car field here in the Indy NXT Series at Long Beach. We will see if we can get some replay views up for some interviews potentially. I'm sure we'll get somebody. See if we can ride maybe back this bad boy up. There we go. That's a shot we can use, I think. All right. Who do we got? We got Cat. Is Jarrett going to make it out? Is Cat going to be the only one that makes it? Well, we'll get Cat on up here. Actually, hold on a minute. Cat make it onto the podium? Nope. P4 interview. Okay, I will consider, but let's get Jarrett on up here since he's on the podium. We've got him pulled up here already now. Let me get there we go. Get his graphic on up here. We'll get Jarrett on up here. This will be the first time I've talked to him. Jarrett, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yep.
Well, it seems like the motto of to finish first you must finish kind of played out here tonight as we saw many cars struggle to make it to the end of this race here. What did it take to kind of sort through the end of the last couple laps there? We saw a good bit of trouble for the cars you were racing towards the end there.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep it on the track and see if I could get Alexander if I could, and I don't know what happened to him. It's a shame whatever happened. But yeah, I just managed to pick my way through there, and I got one freebie from Jacob going off, and then I think there was another one, and I lost position on the start, and then got it back on lap 3. So I didn't really make up any positions on the track, other than just incidents. And then at the end, I had Daniel spin out behind me, so that gave me an easy couple corners just to finish out the race.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of cars were really struggling getting on the throttle. I think yourself included, especially coming to that last hairpin. Do you feel like that there's just a next level of challenge with this car in particular with the throttle in those lower gears especially?
Yeah, the turbo lag is big. It's like in first gear, it's pretty much guaranteed wheel spin, and it was especially bad when I was trying to set up Alexander because I knew my best chance was to set up the hairpin. And every single time it felt like I tried to do that, I got a lot of wheel spin exiting the corner. And I felt like at the end, I was really paying the price for that because I was having a lot of wheel spin and just lack of rear grip in those final few laps.
Yeah, the tire wear especially seems to come into play once you get late in the going with just how tough the braking zones are here on those tires. Well, a podium finish here tonight is quite a standout performance for the runner-up in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship last season. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours, my friend.
I don't really have any sponsors or anyone to shout out. I guess shout out to you and P1 Broadcasting for putting this on. I think it's great, especially for a new car, and hopefully it keeps this thing alive. Yeah, it's great. So that's all I got to say.
Well, keep going fast and having fun, Jarrett. We'll hope to have these on the air for a good long time to come. Thanks for being out here.
Thank you.
And that's Jarrett Corey, P3 finish here tonight. I think we're only going to have time for, well, we're only going to have one other person to interview here, and that's because Kat's being awfully nice and hanging out here waiting. And I don't think we're getting our top 2 finishers tonight, but we'll go through them real quickly just to give them their due here tonight. P2 will be Reed Gibson in his Miles Rowe Force Indy scheme. And Andre Castro with the Chip Ganassi default scheme will finish P1 here tonight. Another strong performance from him. I believe we saw him in the Oval Series last week take home either a first or second place finish. So he's putting on a strong showing here in the early goings of the Indy NXT Series, plural, on iRacing. We'll get Daniel DeRazzo and his McLaren, his track rocket McLaren scheme. We'll give him his due since he's here. And we're being nice here in Indy NXT land. We'll give the P4 finisher their time to shine. Daniel DeRazzo, you got Jacob Collins in the P1 broadcasting booth. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Jacob?
Well, it appears
Doing
that
all right.
it was appear finishing was the name of the game here tonight. Tell us how you managed to survive it even in spite of your late race spin.
Well, I'll tell you this. My foot hurts so bad. I just came out of school, was doing some rock climbing. Oh my goodness. My fingers are tired, my foot is tired, everything is tired. I am suffering. Absolutely. My ankle the whole race, like I don't know, it was just feathering. Like I'll tell you what, you have to be super precise with this car compared to the IndyCar. Like the IndyCar is just like, that one's fun, but this one, it's like, holy cow, what did they do? I don't know how the NXT drivers do this. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I only had like 5 minutes of practice, so I'll say for 5 minutes of practice, I think I did pretty good. I never raced this combo before. And yeah, I mean, I survived. My whole plan was to get by, Jarrett right at the final lap. But I literally couldn't feel my foot, and I just spun. Like it just happened to take me on the final lap at that turn. So you know what? I'll take it. I got my P4. I would have liked the P3 though, but you know, just I'm just grateful that I'm able to drive in my hospital bed condition right now.
Well, I think the biggest summary tonight is that the Indy NXT drivers definitely have learned throttle control very, very competently. I've talked to some of the guys at the IndyCar level about how they have, when they bring drivers up from next, they're super hesitant to get on that throttle pedal line. I think tonight definitely demonstrated some of that for a good portion of the field tonight. So hopefully you can rest your feet up and get ready for next week, because I think we're up for Spa-Francorchamps next week in the Road Series. So that'll be quite the full throttle action through the hairpins and the various twists and turns that
Goodness.
track has to offer. So,
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah,
family,
that's for sure,
sponsors, anybody you got, Kat, who do you want to shout out tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out my team Track Rocket, of course, and our allies Rogue Racing. They're supporting me throughout the race. I'd like to shout out our sponsor, Mahatma Rice, best rice in America. I'm the only driver, apart from Pato aboard, the IndyCar driver, to be sponsored by Mahatma Rice. And shout out to all the student athletes who do iRacing, because, man, that is tough. I can't imagine coming home from practice like that every single time. And, well, you know what? I used to do that. I was a swimmer.
All right, well, Kat, P4 tonight. We'll hope to see you out here more throughout the rest of the season. You keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Thanks, man. See you, Collins. Have a good night.
All right, it looks like we got Castro here. We'll get him up here. We'll get 3 interviews one way or another. Andre Castro, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Andre. Well, it looks like you pretty much just had to exist near the front of the field and keep your car pointed the right direction to keep yourself out front here tonight. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, I think I came pretty close to the pole, and was disappointed when I didn't get it, but just try to stay in close to Jacob, and yeah, I think I dropped some ground in the beginning, but then I was evening out and able to catch him a little bit more, and then I think he just touched the wall and got a meatball, which his car was driving pretty fine after that, so. I think maybe iRacing might want to look at that, because there's definitely been some meatballs that have happened, even though the car can still be pretty safely driven around the track. So yeah, it's a shame for him. And then yeah, I think I just touched the wall when I was in front of the 2 car of Weiser, and then he I don't know if that distracted him or what, but he got the wall. So after that, it was just about keeping it clean.
Yeah, it's something we've kind of noticed with this car, especially on the ovals, that it seems like lateral contact is really, really aggressive on these cars. And I'd imagine a street circuit like Long Beach, with the walls as close as they are and as hard as they are going to cause a bit of issues for a lot of cars throughout the field. But fortunately, you were able to keep it clean throughout the opening portion of this race. We did see a good number of people kind of struggle with getting the power down out of a lot of these slower speed corners. Do you feel like you've maybe figured something out to keep your car pointed the right way, or do you feel like you kind of struggled with the rest of them?
No, I was struggling for sure. I think I wasn't there. There are definitely a few laps where I was able to like cool my tires down and put some good laps in, but there were just times as well where I just yeah, I would kind of drift coming out of the corner. I feel like the power band is kind of weird on these cars, to where like right when you want to be picking up speed, the thing just kind of the power kind of kicks in a little bit, and then when you've done that for a few laps, and your rear tires start to get pretty worn. So that was definitely a challenge. But towards the end, the two fastest guys besides me were just not in the picture at the end, so I could kind of just cruise around. But definitely going to be something that I want to take a look at going forward, so I can be stronger at the end of these races and put the traction, the power down more effectively.
Yeah, we've kind of noted a good bit of turbo lag on these cars, especially just given how much power they're trying to get out of these 4-cylinder engines in these cars. So hopefully that's something people kind of get a bit more accustomed to and gripped up with over the course of the rest of the season here. So hope for some good races to come here, and we'll hope to see you out there. So if you've got any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you want to shout out here tonight, Andre, floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jacob, and all of P1 Broadcasting for the broadcast. Chris Wett's my teammate in P9, so double top 10 is pretty good. And yeah, looking forward to the next race. Thanks as well to BS Hybrid, which I'm not running their livery in this series yet, but it's been fun to be working with a great team like BS Competition, and looking forward to represent them potentially in this series in the future. But yeah, thanks to the broadcast and all the drivers, and looking forward to the next one. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be here for all of them, but looking forward to the next time I'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing you out there again whenever you opt to come on out. So keep going fast and having fun, Andre. We hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you didn't notice, we've gone so long that the iRacing official session has closed on us. So we do thank you and each and every one of us that has tuned into this broadcast here tonight. Andre Castro, your winner. Reed Gibson, second. Jarrett Corey, third. Daniel DeRazzo, fourth. And Clark rounds out your top 5 here tonight. Indy NXT at Long Beach. We will catch you next week. Actually, I'll catch you tomorrow night, where the Indy NXT Oval Series will take on the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the 1.5-mile track in Concord, North Carolina. Should be a good, interesting race. Well, we'll see if good is the right qualifier for it, but it'll certainly be an interesting race on the 1.5-mile speedway out there in North Carolina. And we hope that you enjoyed tonight's coverage of Indy NXT here from Long Beach. We will catch you tomorrow for the Oval Series and throughout the week for the rest of P1 Broadcasting's coverage of various leagues on the iRacing platform. And to all the first responders, military members, and everyone else there around the world that helps us do what we do and fight for the lives that we have, we thank you. Have a good one. Good night.